Hey everyone, today I wanted to make a funny tier list based on the resources in the game. So we're going to talk about few of them, and this is basically not a serious video, it's just for fun and something to talk about. So the first tier is rarest, or rather close to infinite usage. This means that these resources don't really come to an end unless you are a super endgame whale that is pretty much just spending money on everything and doesn't need any of these or the resources below apart from the use to get exclusive things tier. So this tier, the first item is the evolution ores for the DD runes, which is the rarest currency in the game. You can only earn 2500 in the season, which means one legendary rune in season to be evolved. Uh, Unless you're spending money, but obviously we're going to try and keep this free to play friendly, so only one legendary rune evolve a season. Next up is the legendary rune or legendary rune token, which you can use to purchase the legendary runes, mostly and only DD selector runes, never really the EVE runes, because this currency is too rare to spend on the EVE heroes. You can earn pretty nice amount of these, I would say 4 legendary runes a season, but if you're trying to min-max the challenger's journey, you can earn even more than that. So overall around 2 to 4 runes I would say per season, and yeah, it has close to infinite usage because there's always new heroes releasing, which means there's 3 new sets of legendary runes, so 12 more legendary runes to be purchased, and quite a long journey ahead for you to get all heroes to legendary, which is almost nearly impossible for a free-to-play player, but eventually we will get there, I do believe so. Next up is the Oracle tokens. Everyone knows these. They're close to infinite usage if you're a free-to-play player, because there's always constantly new strong heroes pumping out, and you're only making about 200 to 300 Oracles per season, I believe, and because of this you can only afford 3 copies out of infinite copies. So due to the devs not updating the selector cards in the Rift Odyssey or events regularly, this means that you're pretty much always behind on the meta, and the free-to-play players are always behind, 4 months behind the spenders pretty much, because it takes 4 months for heroes to get added to the Oracle store, and God knows how many months before they get added to the selector tickets. Next up is going to be diamonds. Diamonds nowadays are not such a big issue, but they're always welcome. You can always spend them on something, so they're always a good source to have, and luckily this season diamonds income is pretty insane. I would say around 300,000 diamonds that you can make now per season. I will perhaps make a video on that because I did update the sheet which contains the earnings, and I did go for the lowest end earnings, which is 280k diamonds a season. So yeah, you can make 300 easily, and maybe even more, very likely even more. So diamonds are still worth it, still the rare usage, because you can spend them on pretty much everything, and yeah, never enough, always welcome. Next on the tier is you used to get exclusive things, so these cards are pretty much only for the things that you, or rather a whale uses to get the premium items, such as old scrolls for the newest heroes, or the mythic stones for the newest relics, or the fate summon scrolls for the new fate or even old fate heroes. Then we have the pet summon tickets for the pets, and then the usual free-to-play player-friendly, the invoker and the advanced summon 2 tickets, which is basically only something that you are earning for free without doing anything about them, and the others you have to spend money to get, or rather a diamonds, or rather a time. So you can make a pretty nice amount of old scrolls or even pet summons this time around, with the estimate of 300,000 diamonds a season. So advanced summon tickets around 1,000 a season, and the invoker scrolls about 800 a season. So pretty good in my opinion. Could use a buff on the invokers, but other than that, I think the earnings are pretty fair and pretty nice, apart from the premium currency. But again, that's only mostly for whales, so it's what it is, really. You can't do much about it. The finite resource, which means has an end, so the skin tokens, not really for free-to-play players, but now with Dimensional Arena, even free-to-play players that are good in the game and have some luck can earn skins, which is a really nice addition, but whales will eventually run out of the skins to buy, and this currency will be useless. Same goes for the epic runes. eventually you will run out of heroes to purchase the epic runes for, because you earn these a lot in a season, like at least 1000 of by far. Like if you are doing challenger's journey right, it's really easy to get them, and they're really not as rare as they used to be. Then we have the legendary Terra Crystals, which are still pretty rare in my opinion. It's really difficult to max out a hero to 50-50 talents. Most of my heroes, if not all of my heroes, are on 41 out of 50, so I'm currently working on 50 to 50, which doesn't really provide any insane bonuses, but they provide some nice additional base stats, and everything scales of base stats. So I'm going for the heroes like Hela, Victoria, Trupus, Cleopatra, etc. Then we have the evolve runes for the EVE heroes. These are not as rare. You earn them from the Rift Odyssey, you earn them from the Forgotten Lands, and they really come easily. They are especially easy to get by if you spend on the seasonal decree. You get like 5,000 of them, so overall a currency that has an end, because eventually you will run out of EV heroes to evolve or get legendary runes for, because they are no longer being released. Then we have the arena currency, which is only used to purchase a weekly oracle decree or a gear, or upgrade the gear. So really finite resource, you will eventually not feel it, because it only affects Arena, Yggdrasil, and Lost City, so seasonal content is irrelevant for this. It only applies in the non-seasonal. Not even Guild really cares about this, so yeah, pretty overall useless currency that you're grinding non-stop for, just to have an advantage in the non-seasonal gameplay, or if you're someone in the world chat that likes to bully players, this will give you massive advantage with the gears. Next up, will end sooner, not as usable tier. So these are the tokens for the EV heroes. Eventually you will collect all of them, but they're not really a priority or a necessity unless you really want to have a skin for like Halisa or someone, which is a really nice skin, or Trupus even. Then we have the golden ores, which is a really rare resource. If you're in the early game, you will think, oh, I have so much of this resource, until you hit the advancement stage, like 34 or so. Then it hits you that you don't have enough at all, pretty much. So this is a really rare currency, and it's really hard to get by. And again, it's really not relevant because it only applies in the non-seasonal, so you're still grinding or paying for something that is really minimal effort and brings back minimal rewards for the cost you're getting it. So you can just simply ignore it and just let it get earned by passive incomes. Same goes for the orange Terra crystals or other epic Terra crystals. They're rare in the early game, but eventually in the late game they become so common you have nothing to do with them literally. So yeah, don't really spend diamonds on them after like first 14 days or so. They're really easy to come by. And then the synergy summons, which are really useless, because the rewards from the rebates of the synergy summons are minimal and not really impactful for your gameplay. However, their true usage lies in the guild challenges, which is pretty much using 20 summons for the legendary guild challenge and completing in that way. It's really the only usage for them, and yeah, if you're summoning on them, they're not really worth spending money or diamonds on, apart from the first 20 in the early game to get a guaranteed summon hero you select. But yeah, apart from that, really something you shouldn't really ever consider spending money or diamonds on. Then we have the common tier, which is basically, as you can see, these resources, you earn them pretty much just by playing the game. They come by, they go by. Apart from the Terra Crystals and Common Scrolls. Common Scrolls are usable for the fodder, but you will not make a lot of fodder from them. So yeah, the Awaken Order chests, you might consider them rare in the early to mid game, but trust me, they are not. You will be swimming in them and you will have nothing to do after around a year and a half. So really useless currency overall. Apart from bounties are really nice, but they just get earned passively and nothing much you can do about it. And then we have the worthless tier, which is basically all the worthless items. As you can see, gold is an issue until you hit the 2-year mark. So yeah, you will struggle with gold, but then it becomes really useless and nowhere to spend it. So yeah, spend your gold on the invoker rebates or on the advanced summon tickets, because eventually you will hit a cap with the gold and you will never be able to use it. And the rest of the items will come by naturally, and eventually you will max everything that they are used for. and yeah, not really worth spending any diamonds on. And yeah, just a really short overview of each item or other resource in the game. Nothing really important to take from here, or hopefully you have learned something or it helped you look at the resource some way. And yeah, just a for fun video, and see you in the next one.